Okay, so, roll call. Sage Alexander.
Present.
Pamela Batchelor.
Here.
Teresa Baxter. Iris Hannon. Here. Susan Horowitz. Susan Jaggers.
Here.
Michelle Jones.
Yeah.
Danielle Cavany.
She's far away. I can do it.
Oh, that's right, she just said she'd be late. Eve Lacey. Jennifer Miller. Here. Melanie Neske.
Here.
Debbie Penman is on Zoom. Here. Jenny Rabolino. Cindy Tiger. Scott Tillion.
Here.
So,
Gang's all here.
gang's all here. Public invited to be heard.
Say hi.
Hi. I'm me.
So, you don't really have anything.
I don't have anything to share.
Okay.
I
All right,
just
just
happy
like-
to be here and participate.
That's fine. Corrections to the November 21st minutes. Anybody have any corrections? Has everybody read them?
I had someone send me a formatting and grammatical error that has been changed, but other than that,
Okay.
content-wise, if there's any changes.
No.
Any changes, comments, anything? Okay, I need a motion to approve the minutes as is, or as amended.
I
As
approve the November 21st amendment with amendments.
I'll second. A second, I'm sorry. All in favor? I did have to count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12,
13, 14, 15.
13, 14.
Did somebody not vote?
No,
Oh,
we don't
Danielle's
have
not here. I'm just seeing if you guys can count.
Okay.
Just checking.
Any nays? Any abstentions? The motion to approve the minutes as amended passes.
Thank you.
Additions, corrections to the agenda for tonight?
I have not.
None. Council comments? Susie's not here yet?
I think she may be coming. So
Okay,
maybe
if
we
she
can
comes,
table
we'll
that.
ask her when she comes. Code of Ethics Review. Eric.
All right, so in your packet, you all should have received a draft code of ethics for the Longmont Museum and Art and Public Places.
Which I did not print out for everyone because it is still drafty.
Drafty.
The reason why we are doing this is not because we think that this is a group of unethical folks. It is because the museum is starting the process to become accredited by the American Alliance of Museums. And one of the kind of base things that you need to have before you can even go to them and say we'd like to be accredited is you have to have a code of ethics, mission statement, a strategic plan, an emergency plan, and a collections plan. And so code of ethics is actually the one that we have never had. We have it as a city, but not one specific for collecting institution that we are. So this was put together by a staff committee. Angela was on that committee. We looked at codes of ethics from other museums, from the Museums Association of the United Kingdom, and tried to craft something that we felt like made sense for both museum and art and public places. Ultimately, our goal is that it be adopted by all three of the boards that the museum is connected to, so Art and Public Places, the Museum Advisory Board, and the Friends of the Museum Board. Those two have taken a glance at it. This is your first time to take a look at it, but I'm open for questions, thoughts, suggestions.
And so I would say that it is in your packet. I did not print it out because it's lengthy and you all could be a bunch of trees. We're tree huggers, right? So maybe review it online And then if you have questions or comments that I can send to Eric, then he could answer them potentially at the beginning of the next meeting. And if it looks good and sounds good to you, then you can adopt it. But yes, I recognize that, this is the first time you're seeing it, so it's absolutely not anticipated that you would make any decisions this evening, obviously. Is there anything you want to point out
So,
related to it, or question?
I did look at it, but I wasn't sure what I was supposed to do with it, so I'll look at it again and then send you the comments. So,
We'll vote next month.
Or as soon as you're prepared.
No, you need to accept this. This is just a draft, right?
right,
So next month, maybe by next month, there'll be a more complete one.
Right,
And when we do have a complete one, we'll vote to accept it and then that'll move everything along.
Yep.
Okay.
What?
Was there anything you wanted to point out? I think the deaccession policy would probably be one of the things that I would say.
Yeah, I think that, I don't remember which page that is on, under stewardship of collections.
There it is,
So
museum
there's
deaccessions.
Museum deaccessions, and then also art and public places deaccessions. Both the museum and art and public places have similar but slightly different policies around removal of things from the collection. And this essentially provides a very high-level summary of those policies, which are in much more detail in each organization's individual collection policy. Conflict of interest is another thing, just kind of to be aware of. I think it could come up in certain circumstances where, you might be judging an artwork and realize, oh, I actually, know the artist of this, and then the appropriate thing would be to recuse yourself from all decisions relating to that artwork. And so those are the kinds of things that we just wanted to bring up. Have you all aware that this is a document we are working on, get your review, and then, hopefully we can adopt it at the February meeting if there aren't major changes that we need to go back and relook. We also link to, there are many other ethics policies within the city that, like purchasing ethics rules, the public servant code of ethics, and so forth. So those are actually linked rather than making this a 20-page document.
Unless anybody's having trouble sleeping. Totally do that, no problem. Yeah, so I would say, agree. The majority of this stuff that is applicable and is something like a conflict of interest, we discuss pretty on the regular. The open meetings business, all of that kind of stuff, I guess doesn't maybe necessarily fall into ethics. But yeah, that deaccession policy, pointing that out, those are two different. And then maybe even as it talks about collecting a little bit, like illegal things, remains.
Right. Things
like
that,
the museum has like maybe one path and ours is a little different.
yeah, hopefully no one is offering you, oh, I found this, skull in my backyard with art and public places like it.
Like this,
We
it always
have
starts out with I've got a
gotten those
great
calls.
idea.
This is what the police are for.
I know a guy. Yeah.
Okay, so we'll all look over this in the next month and forward any questions to you to go to Eric?
Yeah, either
Go to
way.
Eric?
Straight to
Either
Eric, to me, either way. And we'll then answer said questions and send them back to you all.
Okay.
So you all get the question and the answer, so hopefully that
Should there be
you'll
any
be,
questions?
yeah, should there be any.
Okay,
All right, like I said,
sounds
good
good.
luck, it's extremely thorough.
Do you have anything else?
No.
Okay, so we're going to step back to council comments.
Hi Susie!
Hi, how are you?
Happy New Year!
Happy New Year. Yeah, it was
we had a PD, so we were heavily in looking at data, so
Oh,
my numbers are all, so now I'm gonna try to get back into city mindset. So we did have a discussion at our pre-session in regard, and this is something that would kind of relate to the group, around the roles of the city council liaisons, just getting some clarity on that. Is it necessary to have a council representative at all the meetings, you know, looking at that component? I think, you know, I guess I would really like to hear from you as far as even the council updates. When I go to the museum, it's not logged in, having specific time for council comments. So it really depends. Youth council, I mean, they're a working group, so I don't even, I sit there and I'm answering my emails and just kind of, I get to see what they're doing so I can share out to the rest of council. But there isn't really a lot that I'm doing at that meeting. Other ones, I think the library, I do have time where I share council communications. You know, really they were like, well, you know, as long as it pertains to the library, so they don't really, you know, ask like the whole census. So I'd really like to know what are your thoughts? I mean, is it something that, does a liaison really serve as a role for me to come to every meeting and share out what we're doing on council, you know, land code, or, you know, we did our water efficiency report. I can go into in depth on that.
Mostly, I'd be interested in hearing things that affect the AIPP.
Yes, that's,
okay.
Yes.
And other than that, I can follow the city council on.
Yeah, I know,
So
exactly.
I don't
So
need a report of everything that
of
you
everything
guys
we
are
do,
doing.
I mean, yeah, and so that's kind of where I think we,
Yeah.
as liaisons, we didn't know. It was like, do we only report out what is AIPP related, or, you know, or we'd go into like an overview of what's really happening on council, or is it just kind of, okay, well, what do you want me to make sure that city council knows? And then, you know, am I even really doing any kind of update? So, and I think it really has to be the guidance of this group. I'll do whatever you want. Yes.
My question to you is that you knowing intimately, coming to meetings,
Yeah.
maybe occasionally, does it help you then understand what we do so that you can
Yeah.
relate that back to city council?
I,
And does it
yes.
have value to you?
Okay, yes. So when people ask me, like, I'm not used to having people ask me, what do I need? But it is helpful. It is helpful. So I think when I'm here, I'm able to know what the issues are. So then it helps me be a better advocate, a better liaison, so I'm able to communicate. I know with the library, you know, they were looking at how do we get the library out there to the public. We had this bond measure or this ballot measure, it didn't pass. So now what? So something that I brought forward to council is, okay, well, how about we use some of our council contingency funds to pay for the capital on having either like a book kind of vending machine type thing, or a book lockers where people can order, you know, reserve their books online. The library does have staff capacity to fill those up and exchange those books out. And with that locker space, we're able to advertise library programming. And one of the things that the director and the board really wanted to see is looking at maybe a lower income neighborhood, looking at some of the places where there's not a lot of access to amenities, or at least city amenities as well. You know, maybe looking at the east side, northeast side. What could we do there? So I was able to advocate, okay, let's put this on an agenda and let's discuss and see if council contingency funds can pay for this as a low-hanging fruit to help get the library out. So those are the kinds of things that I feel like I'm able to do because I'm attending the meetings and being able to know what.
And that has value then to us, but I can understand you guys have a ton of meetings, having to come to each
Yes.
one
And
doesn't make a
yeah.
whole lot of sense.
And then the fall semester, because I'm also taking a class for my recertification in bilingual ed, and they fell on the same night.
Oh,
Yeah, so that was tough.
Yeah.
Tough. But yeah, I can, my plan is to still continue to come. I just, you know, wanna know how I can be serve as a better
I
liaison
wonder
to
if
the
it could
group.
be more flexible, where you didn't have to come to every single one, it
Yeah.
could be like one a quarter, so
Yeah.
that we would perhaps gather our, usually we just hear from you, but we don't necessarily tell you what we need or what we're
Yeah.
wanting.
Yeah.
Maybe that's how we could earmark, okay, she's gonna be here this meeting on this quarter,
Mhm.
and at that time, maybe give you more information, request more things,
Mhm.
and maybe make your time more valuable than just attending a 2-hour meeting.
Mhm.
Just an idea to the group.
Yeah.
Okay.
I second that idea.
Yeah. I would say, the other piece is, going back to the drawing board of the minutes. If we can do a good job as a commission to make sure that the minutes are thorough, capturing our discussion, it does not have to be this person said this,
No.
but really the overarching of the discussion.
Mhm.
Then when I send you the packet,
Yes.
which I will continue to do,
Yes, please.
I could highlight, here's where a discussion happened. This is happening with this project. We might need you this month specifically.
Yeah.
It would be fun to talk about shock art, but we need you in this conversation to be an advocate for art in public places. So I think also as a staff liaison, that's certainly my position, but
Yeah.
making sure if we can do a better job of just dialing in on those minutes and really capturing. And then of course we do have the video. So if
Yeah.
something did come up at a meeting that
I can
weren't
always
here,
Go back.
maybe we can also
Look at that as well.
but I do agree. I think what it's the group's feeling, and then also being respectful of your time and
And then I think the flip side of that is just if you see something in council that was like so important to you,
Yes.
that you would contact Angela and then Angela would present it to us.
Yes.
So, I mean, I'm real comfortable with you.
Okay.
things going
I,
on.
oh. I do want to go outside.
Yes,
And there's your sign.
So, yeah, and we do have our board two. I'm going through these. I actually created a rubric to score our applicants. Because that's the teacher thing. So, and I asked for the names to be redacted, so I can look at it.
Smart.
Wow.
You could probably feed those eventually into Copilot and have AI narrow it down for you. It's pretty
Oh!
slick. It's pretty slick what it will do.
How many
That's why.
applications are there? 20 now?
20, yeah, yeah.
So if everyone's not familiar, of course, Marcia Martin resigned. And so then, because of the powers that be and the rules that there will not be a special election.
Mm-hmm.
It's,
Because it was less than a year
yes.
before the election. And
So Susie
Well,
gets
for
to
my
read
part-
20.
so, and I started getting to the point where I was like, okay, grammar. That's a fragment sentence. I'm like, are you going to be able to read and understand and comprehend the packets?
Yeah.
So I'm like, yeah. Paragraph.
That's
Sorry,
more
so
than
I'm
40.
going overboard, but okay. That's all I have.
I really do like hearing what the council is up to in a small synopsis. I do.
Okay, yeah.
I do.
I do.
Okay.
What's top of your mind? What's top priorities right now? One of the reasons I wanted to serve on the commission is to find out how the city works.
Okay.
So, and I really do like that.
Okay. Now we are working on a land swap. We're doing the
Oh, that's right.
to bring a local composting.
Yes, I saw that.
Yes. So that's
Okay, good.
But
Thank
could
you.
that same service happen if maybe there was just you send me a bulleted list of
Okay.
That'd be
Yeah.
a
fine,
bulleted
too.
list,
Yeah.
and then if someone did have
Tell me more. about
targeted
this.
question, tell me more. I could point to where it is, maybe on the council meetings or whatnot, or if there was a question. But
Yeah. Okay.
I think we could problem solve some of
Yeah.
those
Sure.
bits.
Sure. Okay. Thanks.
You could sit and watch council meetings on YouTube.
I could.
Who does that?
I'm only
halfway through this.
It's like
4 hours.
Well, yeah, we appreciate your presence and know your service, because of course everyone here is also serving your
Yes.
community, and
Yeah.
it's a lot.
Okay,
Other discussion? Yeah.
so moving on to number 8, Clover Meadows. the artist, Mike Burke, has surpassed 50% completion of his artwork. He's past the midway point. The footer has been poured in the park. We were tentatively saying a spring installation, but it could be earlier if we have good weather and if he gets completed and he gets the shipping out to us and, you know, all those little contingencies.
That's the sticky wicket, because he's of course in,
He's in Tahoe.
Tahoe. So,
Do you have new pictures?
let's see, yes.
Oh, wow.
Shoot. So this, we needed to confirm before pouring concrete, obviously. It's a little bit bigger than it was supposed to be.
It's better.
Awesome. Yes,
Right?
always.
So yeah,
Especially when it comes to art.
so I don't know if you can see, but there's the mesh, right?
Yeah.
I didn't see.
I really like the way the Longmont logo is kind of coming out in 3D. I really like that idea.
Yeah, look at that. That's so great. The reflective stuff.
Yeah.
That's a serious pedal.
So he's got all the parts, he just has to shuffle them together.
That's my handwritten drawing to make sure that it fit. Yeah, so looking good.
I love that chain.
So it's gonna fit on the concrete pad, right?
Buddy. If it doesn't, it's because we measured, and even had him on YouTube. Like, okay, here it goes. The Parks Department's really excited. So,
That's excellent.
um,
So we're still sort of just in a holding pattern.
he said he was going
We're
to
getting-
paint. Yeah.
He's getting
Yeah.
ready,
Yep.
should be in the next few months.
Yeah.
Looking forward to it.
It's gorgeous. Yeah, it's cool. All right.
And
Any
then,
questions about
yeah,
that
questions,
project?
comments, observations? Fox Meadows. The artist, Pavia, is close to 50%, but she hasn't gotten halfway yet. The footer has been poured in the park. The installation is scheduled for spring, again.
Can I ask
Here's the
where
rock.
this location is going
She's
to be?
making-
Where's the footer?
Yes.
I tried to look at it the other day and I couldn't figure it out.
Let's see. Okay, if you can bear with me for a second. I'm sure I can learn a better way to navigate this, but and this it's like that or something. Wrong product. Okay. So, let's see if this is helpful. Okay. Okay. So, this is probably the best. The street that I'm
Share
on.
for the Zoom folks.
Oh, Zoom folks. Sorry, Zoom folks. Getting there. There you go.
You got this down.
I know. Very clicky. Okay, so we are on the south side of the park, and the road that we are on goes around kind of west and then curves north. It's called Deerwood, and there's like a roundabout. So this is the path that exists that is cutting north and south, and then this is New Park here. So we're on the south side. The playground is kind of over in this area, and I am like looking. This is looking north and a scotch east. Turf is here, and that yellow bit right there is sculpture, and that is to scale from my distance.
Okay.
So that's as tall as it will be, which, okay, granted, from far away, maybe looks kind of smallish.
It doesn't look at all like as big as I thought it would.
Well, that's just a marker.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, sure, no. So it's technically, the piece is on the east side of the park, and then there's some tree bits that'll be here, but it almost intersects this junction perfectly, except there's a sewer line. So here is where a perfect intersection would be, basically where Steve is standing there, and that purple line is the sewer line. So we stayed away from the pool and scooted a little bit to the south. This yellow line here is irrigation, but like that's these little guys here. That's a tree. Those are little trees. But this is native seed. So similarly to clover meadows, it is not going to be irrigated long term. It just gets it started, and then if we ever have super dry spells, then it'll turn on. Pavia was a little concerned that the piece is going to get hosed down, and Steve and I said, okay, let's talk about what hosed down means. It's relative, and yes, may it get wet slightly? Yes, sometimes, but not regularly. As much as Colorado weather will impact it, it will be fine. It's not like it's going to have a consistent spray year after year after year and develop something like that, if that makes sense.
And then the seed around it won't get real tall, so there won't be a big mowing situation.
There will be no mowing.
No
Correct. Correct. Mowers should be way far away
Okay.
from where we're talking. And then, wrong way. So then this is me standing at that juncture looking kind of west-ish. So I'm the sculpture. Well, the sculpture is kind of behind me right here, correct? So
I'm the sculpture.
I am the sculpture. I am the sculpture. So those are the swings, and that's gonna be the like basketball stuff. So when we think about visibility, people will be walking up upon it here, and then can go to the right or to the left.
Good.
Thank you.
Yeah, sure.
Very much.
Yeah.
Yep. So all set to go.
Could we see her pictures again?
Yes.
Her rock?
Yes. And forgive me, Courtney. I'm gonna share.
Oh, wow.
Share this. Share. Sharing.
Goodness.
Yeah, so that's large. And then her process of decoupage, right word?
Right on
Texture
concrete?
somehow?
I mean, it's
Paper.
no, it's a cloth.
Oh, it's cloth.
Mhm. Yeah, and then it's dipped and it's laid and it's
Oh, interesting.
and then it's epoxy
Well,
over the top.
Didn't we say we wanted it to look like granite? Looks like granite.
Yeah.
Nothing's solid. It looks pretty good.
And of course, on the inside, what you can't see here, right, is steel structure.
Sorry.
Cool. Yeah.
Looking forward to that.
Yeah. Good stuff.
There's a sculpture on top of it, right?
Oddly, yes. So
Just the rock.
when I say, when we talk about what 50% is, I was like, we need to see some elk.
It's on the roof of the
I
building.
think that's fair. Yeah.
Right?
That's
Because it's
fair.
got a 2-part sculpture.
Yeah.
50% would be 1
Yeah.
plus.
Yeah,
And the elk is all metal,
Well,
right?
elk is really only going to be this big.
Yes, so elk
It's
is upcycled metal pieces, bumpers, parts, and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
She could be collecting things. I mean, truth be told, that's me speculating, obviously.
Okay.
Before we move on, Courtney came here to. We were going to try and talk before, but Sister Cities is starting late today?
No, it's starting now.
Oh, okay. Anyways, but she's gonna talk
they're
real
over
quick.
there. Yeah.
She's gonna talk real quick about volunteer hours.
Yes. Hello, everyone. I see a lot of familiar faces. and some new faces as well. If you need any reminding, my name is Courtney Fletcher. I use she, her pronouns. I am the museum's volunteer and evaluation coordinator. What that means is that I help record all of the volunteer hours that come from museum volunteers, AIPP Commission, the museum's advisory board. If y'all do large paint projects, I help make sure that waivers are signed and hours are being logged. I am here to plead. Please, 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 please. Make sure you're signing in, make sure you're letting Angela know how many hours you are volunteering outside of the monthly meetings. Even if you aren't, that is totally okay. Just put a little 0. I just want to know, that way I don't have to go bother Angela and be like, hey, so there's a blank here. Do you know? And for her to be like, no, I don't know. To encourage you even further. Internally with the staff, I like to poke and prod the staff and say, your department is behind this department. Right now, y'all are neck and neck with the archives and collections volunteers.
Close. This is gonna be it though.
Yes.
Tonight's my night.
We'll see.
No pressure.
No pressure, y'all. Just guess.
I'll say so far, I think they'll be well in the lead. They have over 1,100 hours for the year of 2024. Last year, I think y'all came in behind them by just like 100 or 200 hours. It was a very, very small margin. 2025 could be your year.
And what's the surprise, Courtney?
Bragging rights.
Oh,
Bragging rights.
it's serious.
Yeah. Anytime.
Angela gets a special thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
She
I
does.
think
Yeah. She gets the chocolate fairy comes and visits.
That's right. I feel that's fun.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I'd
So
like to remind everybody that when you do maintenance, keep track of how long you spend doing it, going to the places, writing down, sending in the.
Reading code of ethics, thinking about code of ethics.
it all
Question. All that counts.
Thinking about art?
but it's outside of that, it's really, really helpful, not only for bragging rights and showing, you have a lot of time to give to the organization, which is really grateful. But it helps not only art in public places, but the museum when we are going in for grants or just showing our support to other organizations out in the community, saying, these are how many volunteers we have, this is how many hours they've donated to us. And it's a really helpful thing for us to have on hand. So please, please, please.
Yeah.
Fill out
And
your
and it
hours.
doesn't have to be fancy. Clearly,
No.
I'm not going to be fancy about it. I do have a fancy spreadsheet, Laura built, which is awesome.
Yes.
So not meetings, right? Just your outside hours, and really do guess accurately because it also helps year over year, and then knowing like what projects we have, so I can be accurate in the data. If I start fudging numbers, it just really like it might help some things, but it doesn't help me. So yeah.
Even if it's a
Yep.
half an hour.
Yep.
It's totally
It
fine.
counts. It totally counts. So.
It's just, it's really, really important. So, I thank you all for
Yes.
letting me, beg you all to fill out your.
I told her, I was like, you're going to be in the building, you should come.
Yes. So.
Yeah, send it back around.
I will
If you
pass
haven't filled it out already, November, December, take a guess. Thank you, ma'am.
Also, as a shout out, sometime in the next couple of months, you will hear from me with another volunteer recognition happenings going on. I think one thing we have in the works is a curator tour of the Picasso exhibit. So keep an eye out for that. There will be both an email, perhaps a physical mailed invitation, but definitely an email. So thank you so much. I really, really appreciate all that you do.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Courtney.
I'm just going to stick it in our new business in a minute.
That's fine.
All right, back to it.
Iris and Betty, don't forget to send Angela your hours.
All right. On we go. We finished Fox Meadows proper.
Yes, I think
Sorry.
we did. Does anybody have any questions about Fox Meadow?
And it's gonna be, in the spring, it'll be completed, is the,
She says, and that's what contractually she's obligated to. So
oh, right, yeah.
if something were to change, then she owes me an explanation. But when I did say I would like some new pictures for this meeting, she showed up, but I was expecting help.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Okay.
I'm on it,
She
don't
doesn't
worry.
get paid if she doesn't deliver, so.
That's right.
Yeah, right.
That's why that 50 plus is a important moment, is because in her pay structure, that's the next installment is the word. Thank you.
All right. History under wraps. The task force met and selected some pictures.
Yay.
We decided on how many is it? It's like 10 or
Mm-hmm.
10? Angela's gonna show the pictures that we chose. The transportation department is reviewing the images and the locations we selected. We did get approval to have boxes along 119 and 287. With certain,
Excellent.
From CDOT.
from
Oh,
CDOT.
yes.
With certain restrictions,
Well,
which,
yeah.
you know, like you can't put a big one up that says, turn right here.
It's very funny.
Stop.
No, seriously, they laid it out. They're like, here are the words you cannot say.
I mean, pretty certain obvious things. Luckily, our pictures aren't like that.
Yes.
And the other thing is that they technically get the last, they get to review last. So it has to go through traffic. Then it has to go through CDOT, but only for those ones.
Okay.
Is this shared?
Oh, cool.
Sorry, it's been a minute since I actually looked at these. Did I put these ones in order? I did.
How cool.
Okay, hold on. Sorry, Iris. Sorry, guys.
Yeah.
I think you might have closed it.
I think they did too.
Is that train station still?
Yeah.
It's the one on the
Oh, it's first.
east side of Maine. First
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, so cool.
It was supposed to be fast tracks to dinner.
Oh,
that was a while back, but
Oh,
There
that's
it
you.
is.
Thank you.
that's what it was gonna be.
That's this one.
Was the third.
That's fine.
For the last 14 years.
Oh, this is
More
good too.
hands, is that what you just said?
Okay.
Can I ask a question real
Yeah.
quick? I was in Boulder recently, and they do a similar thing with their trash.
Mhm.
Not with their trash. They do not wrap their trash.
The
cans. I noticed that they put some sort of writing and kind of give it some context and explain a little bit. And I really liked that. And I just wondered, did we make a conscious decision not to do that? Have we discussed it? Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yep, exactly. So instead of written context, we have a QR code.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And the QR code goes to the tour.
Yeah.
There is our logo, so that's the amount of writing. I would never want to speak on behalf of our traffic team, but I wonder if they would consider that distraction for our driver. We could inquire, maybe like a credit line, like Longmont train station 1920 to 1929. I could ask. That is one of the CDOT things. What did it say? Something along the line of about signage. But I could certainly inquire. At the very least, the QR code leads to a lot of interpretation. And with the logo, I guess I'm thinking out loud now, obviously, I would hope that a passerby would say art in public places, then go to the website, and it's right on that first website that they could get to that access point. But I could ask.
Yeah, I just wondered.
Yep. Good question.
So, we're gonna go through the pictures.
Yeah, sure. Can everybody see that all right?
And you understand the purple ones are the wide sides and the green ones are the short sides and it wraps all the way around.
I can show that. So here's Mr. Corvette, right?
Yeah.
And here's how it can be broken up two ways, like big side, then little, then big, or vice versa. And so then that's how it's broken up. So when it corners, like
Yeah.
this guy. That?
Zoom in just a little more.
Sure.
I think I see the bar down there.
That was from last year. Yeah, those from last year.
Bottom right of the screen. Oh yeah, there you go.
Whoa, here we go. Now we're cooking.
There's see that just move your mouse to the right above the clock and there's like a
That thing, yeah.
toggle bar.
Oh, yeah. There we go. How's that? Better?
Mm-hmm.
See, that said, there can't be anything that looks like advertising.
And, yeah, what else?
Sounds like
All the
numbers.
most no-brainer stuff on the face of the land.
Okay, so now show the pictures from this year.
Oh, yeah, okay. So,
Is that why we couldn't have the car wrapped in cellophane because it looked like advertising?
I know, right? That would be funny though.
We got a freight train over here, we got a passenger train over there. It's all good.
He's like digging in his pocket to look at his stopwatch or his fancy watch. Boynton, how is it? Sorry.
Probably.
Was a prominent photographer in town. You know more about?
He was the editor of the Longmont Ledger newspaper.
There you go.
And kind of an amateur photographer because when he was printing the paper, they couldn't put photos in the paper on a regular basis. But very talented. And his family ultimately gave his negatives to the museum.
Oh.
So one of the reasons why these are kind of vague is we just have the negatives, and so it's just what research we've been able to do is the information we have.
Okay, so the Boynton part just means it came from his collection.
And those are his wife and his kids.
Oh, they are, so it is, okay.
Why are they taking it down?
I love that it's women that's doing it.
I do too.
I'm gonna go a little theme this
They're
year.
gonna move it.
Yeah, maybe they're gonna move it.
Right? So then the
Oh my
central school
goodness.
teachers.
Oh my goodness.
School
Oh my word!
Oh,
That
man,
is fabulous.
That is risque. That
That's
so
a copy of
Wild
that.
women.
Is that the new dress?
Yeah.
That's not a corset on the outside, it's a stomacher.
It's a what?
A stomacher, that
Really?
thing that you lace up.
What's on their heads?
I know, right? They're like the
Giant
these
bow.
they're
bows.
I want to share that with my colleagues.
I'll send it to you. Yeah.
Yes.
If you send me a copy, I can send it
Yeah,
to
I can
some-
send everyone the
that would be
the
so
selection.
awesome.
That is
With
funny.
just the caption.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
It's so good to see people.
I know. It's very joyful.
It's
And
so
then
good.
that composition's lovely. Fits very well, thankfully.
Oh, fun.
It's super iconic.
We can put color on the boxes, so.
I love it.
Downtown.
What? Oh,
That's
sweet, look at this.
Is there anything on that one that still stands? Well, I mean, obviously the building facades.
Oh, that's interesting. Any of those saying that.
Probably the Odd Fellows. Any of the signage of the Odd Fellows.
Right.
Would
I
probably
mean,
still
that
be there, but
that's still there, but you can't see it.
yeah, not here. This one's gonna be this trick. It's just scanning it to get enough. But we'll work on it. See what we can get done. And then,
1872.
oh my gosh.
The 300 block. Burn in 1870.
We'll be able to do that this weekend.
I know,
Yeah.
right?
Cool. That's nice.
Oh my goodness.
I don't need to know.
Oh my goodness.
Except for, you know what, there's no pets, we're dolls.
I know. Well, yeah.
And who are the Southeast Bears? What are they? Who is that?
Oh,
I'm
High
guessing,
school.
I mean, there was Northeast Junior High, so
oh,
Could be northeast.
It could be, yeah.
there may be more images similar to this from
Oh, and that's one my
that year.
no.
Okay, but
Oh,
probably
wow.
And the QR code
Right,
should
that's
say,
what it
if you
meant.
recognize
Oh.
yourself, contact.
We're Maine looking north.
So,
South,
South.
because
there was
There's wards.
Longmont Drugs
might be
was here
interesting.
forever and
Yeah.
ever.
Oh, and that's
To
like
put
the
on there with,
clothing shop.
just the.
Yeah.
Yeah,
High cream
yeah,
thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a really cool.
What corner is
Brown
it?
building,
Is it
yeah.
Main and Fourth?
Fourth and Main.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Southwest. corner.
Selfishly, I wanna drive.
And they're
to the
facing, are they
west.
facing more?
Yeah, the band is facing.
So we're like kind of like.
Yeah, it's a
You're right,
photographer
right.
looking standing in front of the
Right.
piece.
And I think that's.
Mm.
And this one, oh, the yeah,
The
because you
horse.
just
Yes.
can't get
Oh,
Yeah.
The motion.
just not quite
Oh,
all there. But
Oh.
well, it's our next in line. So if this one can't for some reason, but that's
That's our alternate,
that would be how we say that.
and it's not night scene.
That's, I was
Main.
thinking, I'm like, that's not a nice.
It's
Yeah.
not nice
Yeah.
and looking down me. No. So yeah, very exciting. So that by the time we're next month we'll have
It was rodeo. Then they went right to the rodeo down Main.
Yeah.
Rodeo down Main.
So once the traffic people say thumbs up to images and locations, then the task force will decide which one goes where.
Okay.
Last year I sent the big bad package, like here are the images and here are where we want them to go. You're not gonna do it perfectly. We're just gonna say here are the images and here are the boxes, and then we'll tell you where we want them.
Yeah.
And then if we have to go through CDOT, then we'll cross that bridge. Yeah.
Well, we'd only have to go through CDOT for the.
Anything on Main or
Yeah,
119, correct.
Yeah.
Correct. Yep, fun times. Cool.
Okay, 11. Any questions about this?
No, good job.
Yeah,
good job, task force.
Yeah, good job,
Yeah.
task force.
Very great.
I love seeing
What
them
happened to
around.
the iPods?
I do too.
I really
Yeah.
do. I think they're cool. They're really cool.
I have to go back to my notes. We'll go back and look.
Against the world.
Is that the next one down?
That one.
Oh, see, I just didn't, these might not be in order. Sorry. Is that
Longmont against the
Longmont
world.
against the world? Can we make that on a t-shirt and sell it in the museum? I would
That's
wear
a
it.
great
Sticker?
idea.
It's a cool sticker. I think there's a horse on it, yeah.
I just want the horse.
A little.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great
Yeah.
idea.
Is that started from
Longmont against the world.
everybody? The
Yeah.
black
No,
one?
was the-
it was an
What
elk.
was the elk issue?
Could be.
I want to know.
Is that where it comes from? The Elks thing?
I don't know why. There's a couple of, there's like Longmont versus everybody. There's,
Yeah, that one's more modern day.
But it came from an old photo as
Oh,
well.
did it?
Yeah.
Oh,
I didn't know that.
Okay.
Are these,
I had no
these
idea.
are
I thought
all
it was
men in the carriage and their satin top hats, right?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Well, I guess they're all elks, right? So-
Mhm.
I mean, there's that. But we can leave them out of the t-shirt. We just need the horse.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't
You just need to
Not
work.
that guy. I don't know,
Guys,
whatever.
okay.
I love separate
Yeah, it works. So we'll see. So we have, what I have not done, obviously, until we get a permission. There's no sense in trying to scan something if we don't have permission.
Right, sure.
But we don't have any lifeguards, so I think we'll be okay this year.
Oh, God.
We got rejected.
We got rejected.
Because he's wearing a Speedo.
Scandalous.
Okay, so, any other questions?
Oh, good job. Brilliant.
What does the city have against speedos?
Well, believe it or not, they said something that was very legitimate, which was the full size of the cabinet was almost a full-size human, and that it could be misconstrued as someone, and he was like kind of leaning over, and it could be misconstrued as someone who maybe was going into the intersection
In a Speedo.
in a Speedo.
No, okay.
Black and white.
I mean,
That
it gives me better context.
How do you
Thank for that.
argue with that? You can't argue with it.
That would distract me, not
No, yeah, 100% same.
But it is very funny. I'll send you all that picture too because it's sunset pool. It's hilarious. It's a great photo. All right, I will send you lots of pics.
Okay, shock art. All 2024 and the leftover 2023 shock arts were completed on time and all are sealed. We'll likely launch shock art a little earlier this year and we'll move our completion deadline back to October because it got too late and it started to get cold and
We knew better, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Also,
Yes, so Silver Creek High School.
Silver Creek High School contacted us and the art department contacted us and the teacher would like to have her class paint a box. Repaint a box that we just painted like 2 years ago.
Yes.
Why?
And
Because it's near the school.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
And Angela correctly said, we can't do that. The citizens voted, not citizens,
The community.
the community voted.
Yeah.
And we paid them, it's sort of belongs to us now and you can't just paint over it. So.
And
then-
also, just real quick, it was very intentional because the box that was chosen had a bunch of raptors on it, and a raptor is the mascot of Silver Creek, so it was actually chosen intentionally.
Yeah, like a nod to them already.
Yeah. Anyway, so there's that.
So then they asked if they could paint a different box. And Angela and I talked about it. And my feeling is that it's inappropriate to allow the class to paint a box that doesn't go through our voting process. It's not fair to everybody else. And if they do it, then next thing you know, the
skylight.
crazy
Yeah,
want to do it
right.
and
I mean,
and
it's
it's
a
just
program.
kind of, it's a little out of control. So,
Well, they can always just,
Submit something.
that's what we
Yes.
said.
Exactly.
Submit a box and we'll let the people vote. And if they want a box, or if they get all their parents and all their parents' friends to vote, and all their friends to vote, fine.
And I would even say, while normally we say no artist names, it needs to be completely anonymous, I would even go so far as saying that we put a little note and something along the lines of, this box will be painted by students. So the community knows, you know, these are artists and this is a community. So there is, it's still fair and still needs to go through the process, but also give them a little leverage in assistance that way.
okay.
I'm fine with that if you're fine with that.
Yeah.
So, we'll see, she'll respond.
Yes.
Respond,
So-
and we'll see.
Yeah, because, so it is January now. The call will open as it usually does, even if we move it back a little bit, that will be March. If it goes through the process, conceivably, the students could start on it and do it over the summer. And so they would graduate, but it still could be, the word legacy was used, and I understand that, and it has to be equitable. So how can we make that fair?
Needs to be a safe process.
But that's what I'm prepared to say, unless anyone has
No, I think
feeling objection.
Is this the first time that we've ever gotten a request like this from a school or something?
That I have.
Okay,
For shock art specifically.
okay.
It's also, we can't pay the school.
Right.
We have to do a,
IG, intergovernmental agreement, which is
so.
totally normal, easy to do. There'll be legal and risk will make them sign off on liability, and we'd still have the students come in and learn about how to be safe on the site. But you wouldn't ever have to worry about any of that. It's the point is that it would be a little bit harder than a usual contract, true, but completely possible. Though summer will just have to be included. So I don't know. So.
I'm just curious if there's, because it sounds like we have a lot of boxes in the city. Like, as you said, there's we're not running out anytime soon.
No.
We have wanted to engage students in the past. Like I remember with the 9th and Alpine underpass. I just wonder if maybe there could be an incentive, because it's also a part of the great part of the shock art is it sort of moves local artists through that process, building a maquette, having a portfolio to submit. So maybe we could engage the have a specific group of boxes for students or various schools to submit, like in their own category, separate from shock art. Just because we have so many boxes, and it's kind of a way to engage the youth.
I was kind of wondering too, where my head was at, but I didn't know if there was enough, if it was too much of a lift for us, was as part of the shock art to have a box, 2 box, whatever it is, some allotment to say this one is for only for people who want to submit, you know, from schools or youth programs, something like that.
I'd like to just add to that. In the past, we've had community students paint bike racks. If you look in front of the the library over here, you see the U-shaped bike racks that are now no longer bright and colorful. And the process of getting the students to come in and paint and the community to come in to paint and then to continue to maintain them so they're not all gray is really difficult.
Yeah.
So consider that. I love our shock art boxes because they do look professional.
Yes.
They are,
Exactly.
you can see them and you're proud of them.
Yeah.
You might have some fabulous students and some not so great students. Just something to consider, and maybe we look at the bike racks again and having those updated by students or community where the paint does eventually come off and it's not something that you have to be really proud of. I think that's
I think opening it up, like Angela and Cindy said, to this first opportunity with the, you know, and having them understand guidelines and look, all that will be a nice test to see how, but I know exactly what.
Yeah.
My throw in a comment of just against the being a box is not only do you have the multiple schools competing, but then what happens in 4 years when every single student that would be there is now gone, and now suddenly an art teacher wants another opportunity for students to do that again. It becomes inequitable to later sections of students. So I just might throw out there that it's not only inequity in the community, but also within the school itself.
Because I mean, there's a lot of school to play devil's advocate in that same realm. So okay, you have this group from this school now. Well, now then we're going to want to serve these schools next before we come back to this school. If you're a freshman and your sister does it, and then you don't get to, how are we going to fill that hole?
That's why you make it a competition.
Well,
Period. Yeah. There's no hole.
So the community. So if 3 schools come, if there's a designated box that's for schools, and 3 schools are competing with artists, and you know, we set the parameter like a school a year or something, and even like shock art is now. I'm sorry, I'm thinking out loud, but an artist comes in, participates, they have to sit a year before they can come back and come again.
Exactly.
You know, but if you're a junior and this school is chosen and your school has to sit a year, then you're out of luck.
Or
there's lots of different ways to engage in the community.
Angela, what happened? I know at some point we talked about the big boxes over by Skyline, off of Sunset there, right at the front of the school. The north, they're on the.
I know. I'm trying to visualize them.
I'm trying to get the.
They're not pad mount switches. They're different.
Is that what it was?
They're
Is
not
that
the cubey ones. They're taller.
They are bigger.
Yeah,
they're
bigger.
definitely bigger. And I remember we talked about them being a part of it. And I
honestly
can't
can't
remember.
But I can reach out and I certainly can reach out and ask. But whatever it is, we're setting a precedent one way or the other.
Yeah.
Yes. And someone, no matter how it goes, will be angry.
Absolutely.
But doesn't the way that we already have everything kind of already laid out, doesn't it already give the opportunity for any student to participate? And I feel like it's on that art teacher to truly encourage their kids to apply. And it's also because there is an initiative once your box gets chosen, but I feel like that way it's fair across the board to all of the community. For the kids that are homeschooled, for the kids that are, and you never know. I mean, there's we have such a diverse community as it is that I feel like it allows everybody the opportunity. And I feel like maybe that's just, a responsibility to be on us at that, right? If we want to get more student involvement, of just being able to throw it out to the art teacher of being like, hey, just a reminder, like, everybody is welcome to participate. Like, I don't know,
as long as the child's parent will go under contract. Yes, it's a legal contract, right? But yes, there would be no barrier for any person to participate. And maybe to your point, Danielle, maybe it's just about our communication that we've received inquiry from this school, this is what we told them, and we build a flyer, digital or otherwise, and then hand it out to all the schools.
Yeah.
So we're telling this school the party line, and we're sharing the party line. So we're being equitable to as much as possible.
And maybe they can learn how to build the market.
In their class.
I think it's a very good skill.
Our experience with school, and I was so excited about this going on, and then we got not a lot of response, and then it was a little program we had started.
Yeah.
And then we kind of got taken advantage of, I felt like.
So maybe explain what we're talking about just a little bit for context.
So when I started on the commission, coming from education, I was like, oh, I would love to do something that reached out to kids to tell them about some of the AIPP art within the city. And so we
kind of built a field trip, but then COVID happened.
Exactly.
So we turned it into a digital virtual field trip.
Yeah.
And we got one teacher that was jazzed about it.
And it went really well. And it wasn't a lot of kids, but a few, and she included it in her program. And I was excited about it, thinking that the word would be spread. It was great. It took, anything to fill 45 minutes, an hour, right? Towards the end of the school year. Yeah. We'll sign up. And it didn't take off so much. And then maybe because of the COVID or whatever. But anyway, and to get this going, there was like, oh, we want this date. Oh, now we don't want this date. Now we do want this other date. And we were very accommodating.
You were. Because Susan was the one who said, I want to give this virtual field trip. And so Susan would mark time on her calendar, and then a couple hours before she'd cancel on us.
But anyway.
It was
Was it last year or the year before? Whatever it was. The same teacher came back and said, oh, I want to do it again. And then she wouldn't give us an exact date or something. And I said, I can't. I'm a busy person too. I'm not going to be taken advantage of like that. So we kind of said, sorry, unless you can really commit.
And there's no dollars related to it.
There
and
wasn't.
the school district's already strapped.
Our volunteer time, my volunteer time. So, and then I put the whole slideshow together. I mean, there was a slideshow that went with it. It went with it. I had my whole script. It was really engaging. I loved it. And I didn't mind doing it. But then you felt like you were taking advantage of it. I'm just.
If we don't learn from our lesson.
We kind of have to, right?
Not just incentive, but also accountability.
I agree with what Danielle said. The program is there.
It
is laid out. And all our teachers have to do is say, hey, let's form a team. You know, whether it was like robotics or it was OM or it was any of those kinds of things. And who wants to do a mock-up for shop art, and it can go in your portfolio, and where you'll learn about contracts and blah, 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 and all of this. So that's what my point being was. I don't think we have to reinvent the wheel from it. I think the answer would be we would welcome anybody.
And we have digital assets that Laura built, so the how-to is done.
Right. We'll
just
send
hand
you
it
that,
over
you
and
do
say,
it with
here,
your
you know.
class.
Yeah, the teacher could show the video.
Exactly. And so, and it could be another club in that art program, just like OM is, just like robotics is, just like any of those extra things that schools have.
And if it did come to pass where one was chosen or XYZ, the IGA is easy, and we wouldn't pay kids but we would pay for materials, you know, and that's easily done.
Right.
So
I wasn't trying to squash it, but then when she talked like that, I was like, that makes so much more sense. So I don't know.
You have the experience.
Yeah. And that was
Any
only
other
a couple of times experience, so it's not fair to say that's how the experience always is.
But I do think about the, you know, like my younger sister missed out on a lot of stuff. It wasn't fair because you got to do what and I didn't get to do it, and that's sad. So if at least every single year there was equal opportunity for anyone to try.
There is right now.
Right, there is right now. There is.
That's what I was saying. That's why I was picking up on that. I thought the opportunity is totally there.
Yeah.
Are we good with this?
Yep.
Thank you.
We don't have to vote on anything, we don't have to do anything.
But that sounds good. So if the newspaper were to come to you and say, this teacher said, shame on you aren't in public places,
I'd say
everyone
talk to
would.
Angela.
Well, yes! Learn that in PR training. Good job. But you would feel confident and comfortable with your decision that you're not squashing the dreams of little kiddos.
Because they all have their own.
If a newspaper comes to you about this, you say, oh, you need to talk to Angela.
Yes, that's right. All right.
Okay.
Good work.
Next, art on the move. The call to artists is written and ready to launch. As we all remember from the last lesson, the giant butterfly in St. Stephen's had to be removed when they did the construction on St. Stephen's, the roof or whatever it was they were doing. So that artist has a pass for this year, already accepted for 2025, because we had to pull her out.
Yeah.
And you voted on that.
And we did vote on that, and it wasn't her fault. Okay, I think the competition this year for public art installations, temporary public art installations, is very fierce. Many Front Range cities and mountain towns are putting out calls for temporary art, to say nothing of the rest of the country. But locally, there are a lot of towns. The artists interested in submitting artwork will submit their pieces to multiple towns.
Which they all do.
Which they all do all the time. First come, first served. Or best price. First served. And who can blame them? And then they just move them around every year.
It's a circuit. We all know this, right?
And that's fine. That's yay. I personally would like us to consider extending the contracts for the ones we already have for another year, and just having these for another year. And I have reasons.
What are they?
This is an enormous benefit to the artists, because they get paid again and they don't have to do anything. They don't have to submit anything. They don't have to move anything. We just give them the money and we keep it for a year.
Okay, that's a good reason.
We have no guarantee that we will get the pieces that we vote for.
Which has happened in the past too.
Yeah, the competition is pretty intense. And we always have like second string ones, just in case.
Mhm.
But we'll likely have to choose twice as many second string ones and hope we get enough to fill the spaces we have.
Cindy?
We'll say, if we keep the ones we have now,
Mhm.
the commission will save $5,000 to $8,000 in de-installing and installing the artwork.
Mhm.
We already have an audio walking tour that Laura did for these artworks that are there. So we already have this in place. The robot in Kensington Park is completing its second year
Mhm.
That's
already, and we could replace it with the giant butterfly. Because we're not gonna put it in St. Stephen's again.
Mhm. Mhm.
Also, we have two pieces that we purchased from previous Art on the Move collections.
Mhm.
One is still in St. Stephen's and we need to find another place for it. The other one is in storage and we need to find a place for that.
It's in
So
storage.
we still have
Because
things
it's
to
heavy.
do
Oh, yeah.
concerning Art on the Move that is not related to jurying all those, like the 40 slides, 40 artists, 40, 50, 70, whatever it was we had last year.
It was a lot.
It was a lot. So, Eve,
Just a quick question,
I can't hear you.
just a quick question. The pieces that we currently have that you're talking about
Yeah.
possibly keeping another year, are some of those earmarked to go somewhere else? Might we lose those?
Yeah,
Anyway.
so I pull it up just so you all can see. So, and I'm sorry, I know this is barfy when I go fast. Most of them, because it is a circuit, we have all of our communities have kind of now fallen into step with each other, which is great. So the calls are out now. They close February, March. Everybody goes under contract February, March, and installation happens April, May, June. So artists are moving and shaking things around in this like circuit right about this time. Chances are a lot of these artists are putting the pieces that we have now up for potential in these other communities. And then if they get chosen, then they'll go under contract with that other community. Unless you decide to keep them, and we could offer the artists an extension to their contract, which they may or may not do,
Mhm.
maybe. And then you could work on placing the two pieces that you have, that you own, and find homes for those. But let's put that aside for a second.
How much do we pay them?
$1,000.
$1,000.
Which is about, so here's Lions, that's where your bear went and everybody freaked out. And then we got our bear back. Sorry, that just
Right, right.
that cracks me up every year. So Avon, Lafayette,
You're going too fast.
I know, I'm looking for the other ones.
Golden.
No, gold, that's a
I saw
different
gold.
one. I know, but that's different. This
I
is-
have a question.
Yes,
So I
We
totally,
bridged.
I totally understand the logic that you're saying, but this sounds like an ongoing problem, and we just can't keep extending the art.
No, that's true. That's
Sure.
absolutely
Yeah.
true.
that's fair.
So, I mean, besides maybe approving to give these people an extension, shouldn't we like have a task force or something that would try and figure out a way to circumvent this issue, or is it ongoing forever and ever?
I don't think circumventing is
A good word?
a good word for that.
Okay, well,
I think
all right.
that I
Fine,
think that
then
if
I
we
would-
have a year to consider
Yeah,
and work it out, we can maybe submit the call a little bit earlier or something, or we can try and make it. Another thing we could do, which we discussed before, was making our contracts for 2 years.
right, I remember
And that would be a big incentive to artists
Yes.
to accept us over somebody else.
But then we still have the problem of renewal, of getting new art in.
Well, no, because we put in the call and say, this is a 2-year installation,
Right,
and you're getting $2,000 for it.
but after the 2 years, then we
Then
have
we
to
do it again, and we say,
It's a
this,
so you think that just extending it for 2 years would
yeah,
would
just up front, just say
be
this is 2
the
years.
draw that would make them more interested
Yeah.
and
that
applying
it would
the
make
best.
us more
All right.
Attractive.
attractive to the artists. Say, oh, I can get $2,000 and I don't have to worry about it for 2 years.
I can tell you right now, of the 70 that you're gonna look through, you're gonna choose 10 with some backups for 7,
Sure.
and you're gonna probably have to choose 20 this year
Mm-hmm.
because of how many there are.
Okay.
So then it goes back to that, are you really selecting something or are you getting what you're getting?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I don't, anyway.
And I'm not saying that
No,
we need to do 2-year contracts. I'm just saying we can look at the lay of the land over the next year and decide if maybe that's something we want to do, or if we want to throw our hat in the ring for a year and get what we get.
no, and I think I think it's reasonable what you're saying. I'm just worried about what happens the next bit.
I might also throw out there, just as a listener, for sake of consistency, we're talking about ethics earlier. There's also the ethics of, okay, if the same people just keep getting offered extensions, is that being fair to the rest of the artists in the community that are also submitting their work, or is it taking away opportunities for prospective artists?
If we have a 2-year contract, it won't be the same people. I mean, it'll be.
I don't mean that. I mean just the extensions section rather than picking new people.
I'm sorry, I can't hear what you're saying.
Sorry, I was meaning the extensions rather than picking. Not meaning the 2-year part. I mean like the current. I totally agree with all the points made. I'm just trying to play devil's advocate.
Well, if we
Ethics.
can offer them an extension, some of them might have already decided they're sold it to somebody,
Right.
And so there's that. But and Teresa, you've had your hand for a long time.
I like the idea of us being the one off and offering a 2-year, but I know that this means changing our bylaws, and we have talked about this in the past, or something within AIPP. I think it's time for us to increase our stipend for our
Then that will mean, less pieces of artwork.
and it's
Correct.
just might be able to then narrow it down to what we can choose rather than what we get.
Yeah.
So it's something to consider. If we extended all of these contracts for this next year, looked at perhaps having them always be a 2-year contract, but also perhaps looking at spending a little bit.
So, before Susan, so $1,000 is about where everyone is. There is a $250 travel allowance. Where is this? Carbondale, because they're in the mountains. So that makes that a little more attractive. I would say that we're in the right market. Not trying to be rude, but moving these around in a circuit is cumbersome. And so I think that the storage aspect, or them on display and getting that marketing piece, would be attractive. And especially since this last year, now we have the online visibility. We have the tour that had the artist statements in it. So we've upped our game in different ways that other communities aren't doing. So there is that too.
Also, if we extended it this year for 1 more year, then we can look into, I know we've looked into this before, how do we change the amount of money that we have to spend?
Yeah.
Right.
We have to change,
We have to go to council.
we have to go to council.
Yeah, but it's totally possible.
Yeah.
And
we can,
And I'd
if
like
we
to
say
have
we
more
want to go
earmarked.
to a 2-year thing, we want to use twice as much money for it. I mean, it's the money we already have, right?
Would you pay
So-
all up front, or would you
I-
pay $1,000 a year?
You would have, right now, we would have to pay $1,000 a year because of the way that the bylaws are written. Susan's had her hand up for a long time.
Yes.
I'm wondering if we couldn't consider doing this year half of them, and half of them we extend, half of them we do new, but the new ones we do on a 2-year contract. So that way we've always got some changing. So we're each year, but we're only doing half as many. So we're hopefully more likely to get the ones we want because we're offering more money, 2 years.
You could do that.
And we're not trying to get 10 or 12 pieces. We're trying to get 6 or whatever.
That's really clever.
2 things related to that, and I'm not trying to ruin your day. The first is that the plinths along 4th are standard sizes, So whatever artwork comes out, the artwork that goes in will absolutely have to fit on those or the very few other places you have. You have some, a couple of breezeways that are larger than 4x4, a place outside of the rec center. Eventually you'll have some space at the museum. So there are options, but sometimes it's square peg round hole. What you wouldn't want is you take things off of 4th and then the artwork you get back or the things you have to choose from have to fit on that plinth so it doesn't look like you're missing a tooth.
Right.
So there's a little bit of that funny business. And then the second thing about ruining your day, not ruining your day, is the interesting thing about moving this work and what I finally have figured out is I deinstall and install at the same time. So I'm hiring the same contractors to take out and come in, and it's this lovely, beautiful dance of sometimes somebody is coming out at the same time that somebody's coming in, and I have the crane or the forklift and et cetera there. So you probably, not that it's a big deal, you probably won't save any money on the installation, deinstallation, because it's still gonna be a kind of wild dance. But to your point of bringing half in and half out, like that could make a really nice ebb and flow. Just know that there is no such thing as perfect.
There's not today either. I must have had a really bad day because that didn't phase me.
I thought the metaphor of the tooth really made it nice. Nobody wants gappy teeth in the art world.
So if we go with this plan of asking for artists to do another year, what if half of them say that they don't want to do it? So are we still going to make a call to artists or a call for more artists, or how are we going to play into that?
You would need to make a motion to give me authority to make the decision.
As a extension of that, do we have to make any selections if we put out a call for artists? I mean, we could still put out the call for artists and then contact the people we have and say, would you like a 1-year extension?
Yep, you could.
And then we don't have to pick anybody that submits.
Could cost you $500 to do a call. Not that I'm scared of that. I just, don't blow $500 when I don't have to.
$500 for perhaps no return, but.
But if I were an artist and you put a call out to artists and you weren't planning on picking anybody, I'd be really irritated that I spent my time putting something.
You've submitted your artwork to like 7 other towns.
But I still would be really irritated that Longmont was never going to do it anyway. That I think would come out negatively.
And you might not submit it. Last year we had so many. We had so many
We have
artists.
72.
I'm telling you that I have never seen, so South Suburban's in now. South Suburban, Avon, Carbondale's normal. There's the big one, it's Rapids, Iowa. They like take 23 and they give cash prizes, so that's a big one. Anyway, there's a lot of communities right now. So 70 pieces of artwork is only gonna go so far.
So one thing that I like about the idea of extending is, since currently Art in Public Places is down a staff member, which does mean that all of the work right now is falling on Angela, and it's not a small project to coordinate all of these artists and all of the installs and deinstalls. So if you're going to do a year where you do an extension, this is kind of the ideal year.
I would say not the robot though. He's done.
Excellent.
We have to put the butterfly somewhere because that's already a done deal.
Ooh, the butterfly and
Or good.
Would the butterfly fit on that or whatever kind of foundation we have?
Not on board. Oh, no, it can't.
They moved the robot.
It will not fit on 4th. It
But it
will
will
fit
fit.
on the Kensington.
Yeah.
It's really big. It's
Yeah.
really
It's
big.
Yeah.
So it will be easily seen from the road, which is my personal criteria for something that goes in there behind that little garden.
Yeah, I agree.
So all of this to say that you do have to make a decision on this one way or the other because by next month the ship has sailed.
Okay.
And also I need the authority to say if X number say nope, we are already promised elsewhere, then I get to make the decision. Yep, we're launching and we're go, or not.
And we have not put a call to
So if
artists
we
yet.
reach out,
No,
It's built, it's ready to go. I
Okay,
have,
but we're not on this like the rest of these people are.
no, all I have to do is push the button.
Okay.
The installation team has it on their calendar, they're fine. If I say, hey, we're not doing it this year, they're fine. Revens wants, and the artist for the butterfly is ready to go. Her contract's not written yet, so the dates for that aren't defined. And the robot, his amendment to his contract ends April, so that dance needs to happen no matter what. But if we were going to be installing butterfly, removing robot, then you also could decide on where you want your 2 other artworks to go, and that would be the project. Is
Okay.
installing, deinstalling, and moving, rather than all of our images.
and next year we'll have a couple more places at the museum,
2.
2 more places at the museum to put our work.
Probably not by spring of 26. Still be under
Probably not by
construction.
spring of 26.
So a
Sorry.
bigger problem than we have now.
Soon.
Soon. Spring of 27.
Coming.
Spring is May 7th.
Yeah.
But we do have the rec center.
So we have to decide tonight
Right.
if we're going to offer an extension to the artists we have. And we have to also, if we decide to do that, give Angela the authority to,
Proceed as best fits the program.
yeah,
Whatever.
yeah. If they say, no, we've already done it, then you can say, okay, blah, blah, blah.
Basically, I'm going to do what is best for the work and doesn't cost us some ridiculous amount of money. That's whatever's best for the community is what I'm going to do.
Okay. So I was just gonna say, it sounds to me, especially with the staffing shortage, that it is a really good idea to extend for this year and allow Angela to go ahead and cope with whatever happens as far as the amount of artists that want to come back or don't want to come back.
Sounds like a motion.
I motion to, okay, all right. Second.
Yes,
Scott,
discussion.
Scott,
I have
second.
just a little bit of discussion, not in reference specifically to the motion, but I would like for us to revisit this where we can have more of a conversation to develop a plan going forward.
Yes.
I think we
please.
should have a task force, I really do, I think
And
that we need to
That's
figure out what to do in the future,
That's
because this is
Yeah.
gonna be obviously an ongoing problem,
Yeah.
so
Well,
we need
I-
to fix it.
Or opportunity.
I also
Oh,
think,
yeah, and that too, yeah.
I
That's
also
what I
really
meant.
believe that we could investigate expanding our fund for this particular project.
Sure.
It's popular, we should have the money to
We do have.
like put in more, I mean, it's just, we need to like talk about it, not tonight, but
No, that would be what the
Yeah.
task force would
Yeah.
be doing, is looking at increasing the payments or seeing how that fits in with the budget, because Angela's saying if we increase the amount we give to the artist, we reduce the amount of art on the move that we can actually have.
As it is.
So
now.
as the program is now, so if we wanna do that, we have to figure out how we can expand and maybe even go to the city council and ask, can we have the same amount with more money? You know, I mean, it's just things we have to work out, but we definitely we can't do this every year. But I do really like
I do
Susan's
too.
idea about staggering. This year, I think that's a really great idea, but for this year, right now, this might be the best solution, and then we can move on with,
But then how would you stagger?
oh, well, you could do it 1 year, next year when we put out the motion, we could do 1 year extension, 1 year appointment, and then for half, and 2 years appointment for half.
Yeah.
You know, and we can, vote on
I
who
think
we
that-
want 2 years and
this
who
is
we
a
want
really,
1 year.
really popular program with
I
the
love it.
people.
Yeah, I
in
love this
Longmont.
program.
And I think that we need to look at what the mandate is and work on making it something that, because that was written 20 years ago.
Yeah,
Art on the Move was implemented in 2010, so you know
So
a minute.
14,
For a minute.
15 years
Yeah.
ago.
And as a point of clarification, when changing the bylaws did come up, leadership way up actually said if you're making bylaw changes, you need to look at the entire bit. Do not bring city council
More than fair.
one little change.
Okay.
And that could be something we could, it's January, we
Yeah.
could look at.
You
that
could,
this year.
but a task force certainly, and attrition of the commission was a part of that, and there was a couple other things. Oh,
Yeah.
defining what
I think there's a
public
motion
art
on the
is.
table.
Yeah, it was crazy.
I'm saying there's a motion on the table.
Oh, there
now.
is a motion. Yes,
Yeah.
good point.
Oh, but so we got a second.
Yeah.
Scott
Yes,
seconded
Scott
it.
seconded.
And I would like to just say also that I really think that keeping the 4th Street Art Museum, or whatever you want to call it, is real. I thought it's a really nice thing, and so that would be one thing that I would like to consider keeping is putting the new in 2026, if we do new, is to have part of that as a standard a situation. But, I mean, that's up to the task force too, who wants to look at the whole thing and see it. But just my personal opinion is I love that 4th Street, walking down and seeing all the different sculptures and art and stuff. So
Are there other comments or discussions, or do we want to vote on this?
We did.
Are we
No, we didn't
ready?
vote, yeah.
So the motion is to extend current contracts. Robot will be excluded from that. And to go under contract with Revan for the pre-approval. And then should that not work out, that basically, I will make this very much nicer. Nice one. Nicer than this.
Yeah.
Yes. Giving me carte blanche to make a good decision. Something like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll fix it. I promise.
So, all in favor of investigating extending the contracts we have right now and keeping the artwork for another year for the people that are willing, and Angela being able to make decisions on our behalf because she knows what we're wanting. All in favor? Aye. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Nope.
13, 14.
13, 14. Opposed?
He's abstaining.
Abstain?
Okay.
Abstain 1.
Very good.
Okay, so that passed.
Good discussion.
Good discussion. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Number 13, Van Gogh.
Van Gogh.
Is
The
that
call for
blind
entry has
guys?
been written and will likely require a bit more pre-application review. We need 2 maximum volunteers to join me, because I'm going to do this, who would complete application reviews. This will involve reviewing applications, just the applications, not the artwork, just the applications, online at Cafe Jury for 100% compliance with the call for entry instructions that Angela has made.
Awesome.
100%.
What is
Van
Van?
The van wrap.
The van wrap.
This is the Van
I
Wrap.
don't know what it is.
Okay,
That's
yeah,
why.
I'm sorry.
This is
Yes,
a
we're
mystery.
gonna revive Van Gogh. We're taking bids on it. Yes, this is the wrap for our new van,
Yeah.
for the museum's
we
van,
have-
our van.
Our van. Well, our collective van.
It belongs to the museum and to AIPP.
We wanna put a wrap on it.
We have a great big art moving van. I have observed it in the last few days. And we've been talking about putting a wrap on it for an artistic kind of, promotion of ourselves.
So the mini task force, just another person or 2, they'll look at the applications, compare it with what Angela said. in the call for artists that this is what we want. We want somebody from Boulder County. We want somebody, you know, that whatever the rules are, it's going to be a simple yes or no on the computer. Yes, they've agreed, they've complied with the instructions. No, they haven't. They're from Iowa. They go.
Okay, so we do have an existing task force, right?
So the commission is the selection panel. So you all are going to be looking at it for the aesthetic purpose.
Yeah.
What I really need help with
Right.
is going through the God knows how many applications we're gonna get, and basically, because I don't often write two-dimensional calls for entry, so I'm a little nervous about what it's gonna be like. Yes, they did the application correctly, or no. I just need a couple more sets of eyes.
Well, I thought I was on the band rep committee anyway, but that's okay. I'll do it too.
Okay.
Yeah.
It basically will be exactly looking through, just like you would for the call for entry portal.
Right.
Like if you're looking at the artwork. But in this instance, I'm going to give you a matrix. The matrix is going to say, here were their directions. Did they do them?
Yeah.
Some of them it's going to be easy. Do you live in Boulder or Weld County? Yes or no? This is a hyper local call. If the answer is no, I live in Iowa, they're immediately out, and that is going to get our short list down. But my matrix, I built it, and I built the calls. I just need
That's fine.
someone else to,
I got it. Yeah.
That sounds
Okay,
fine.
and then later, when the accepted applications make shortlist,
yes.
they'll submit the artwork or
Then you all will get
and then we
everybody,
all will sit around and we will look at it all and we'll vote then, all of us.
including members of the museum and the comms staff.
Okay.
Because what it cannot be is signage, and it cannot be advertising. It has to be artwork.
Can it be our pictures?
It could be a lot of things.
Very artistic.
But it's going to be a little bit tricky, right? Because these artists are going to do, just like every other call for entry, they're going to give you a portfolio of work to show their style and a narrative that says kind of what they probably would do. Like, I love Smurfs. It's going to be Smurfy. There will be a lot of blue. And you're like, great, sounds good. And then that is how you will, as a selection panel, will judge to move something forward.
Yes.
This is very much not looking at the quality or the quantity or the work. It is, are they rule breakers or followers?
Yeah. Yeah, this is simply cakewalk.
Sounds easy, but I'm telling you,
I know.
it'll be a lot of reading. It'll be
We potentially could get 100 applications for two-dimensional work. So, again, I'm gonna ask people that, I need like one or two other people.
I'll do it.
Susan?
Yes, we didn't write it down.
Okay.
So we got Susan, Jennifer. Did we have one other person?
Yeah,
And Pamela and Cindy. That's fine. Four's fine.
Interestingly, of these 4 people, 3 of us are leaving.
I know. Let's not talk.
That was my question.
Yeah, I don't know. Hopefully, you're gonna put out the call for artists and the call for entry, and what's their deadline on that?
I'll do it even if I'm not.
It's fine. This whole project will be done before June, so don't worry about it.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk about you guys leaving right now.
No, me neither. Me neither.
So that's all. Something to look forward to.
Yes.
We're not gonna be judging Art on the Move, but we're gonna be judging BAM rap.
That's right.
Cool.
We'll be looking at artwork. Don't worry.
Yeah. So, new business. We're getting to the end. Woo!
Okay, I have a report on
New
just on the
business,
Teddy-
Loveland
on
Creative
Teddy.
District Summit.
Go
Oh,
ahead.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. Go ahead.
Okay, I was gonna report on the Teddy Roosevelt sculpture.
Oh, yes.
At Longs Peak and Kaufman. Our contractor built a box around Teddy and it was installed this week on Tuesday. And it is
Cold, people.
It was not as cold as it's going to be coming up, but it was still cold out there. And I do have some pictures on my phone if you want to see. And I don't know if Angela has them so that they can be seen on the screen or not, but it's quite a sculpture. The box around Teddy is quite elaborate. It's much bigger and fancier than the one that was on the bear.
Oh, good.
Oh, yeah.
And stronger.
Oh, yes.
Oh, good.
It is
They're gonna be ripping up the
It's-
street, God only
It
knows.
is heavy duty.
Okay,
And, so Teddy is now in the box.
excellent, excellent.
And won't be for 2 years.
No, not 2 years, we hope just a few months. But it is a mess down there, a mess. I mean, they're tearing up everything, digging up everything.
Yeah.
Guys going up and down the street acting like they own everything. Kids walking in the middle of it. I mean, it's a mess.
We can talk about that. Despite the fact that, yes, if a bucket truck hits it, Teddy's probably toast. Other than that thing it's not going anywhere.
Good.
So,
If you want to see it, I have a picture of it on
I'm
my
trying to send one picture.
Okay.
And one more thing, that sculpture is quite wide, so standard pieces of lumber wouldn't fit, so it actually had to have seams. And the contractor did a good job knowing that if then there's drips, it's not going to hit the sculpture, it's going to hit off to the side and all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But the project manager, of course, is a city colleague, and he really has his stuff together, so it won't be in there long. Couple months. So the creative district is having their summit a week from Saturday, and so I'm presenting on 2 different panels. One is talking about opportunities for artists, so shock art I'm going to go into pretty heavily. I'm going to pitch Van Gogh. We are going to be working, of course, on the mural on the
New hotel.
garage hotel, so there's a lot, so I'll be pitching a lot of this stuff that we're doing to our local creatives, which is fantastic. And then I'm also doing a do's and don'ts of applications. I'm kind of looking forward to.
You're gonna love it.
Right? I had an application one time said, "Hello, is it me you're looking for?" I'll be like, "Okay, be creative, fine, but then like tie her up and bring her back in."
Professional too.
You can be funny and creative, but then also like show me your stuff. So I'm looking forward to that. But that'll be on the 25th at the Elks Lodge, and like tickets are $40. It's a lot of artist professional stuff. So I'm very honored. And that's it. That's all I got.
Commissioner comments? I need a motion to adjourn.
I'll make the motion to adjourn.
There we go, Lisa. I'll second.
Second.
The party was really fun.
Oh,
yeah.
Yes.
That was really fun.
It was really nice.
All in favor?
Yeah, who wants to leave?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
A
7,
party?
8, 9.
Party?
They're gone already.
They've already left.
voted, right? They did something, who knows? Nettie went a while ago.
No nays, no abstentions. Okay, we are adjourned at
7:47.
7:47.
Angela,